I don't think anyone prepares you for the moment you realize your parents are no longer the ones taking care of you. You're now taking care of them. And somewhere in the middle of helping them move, making appointments, going through decades of memories, while still trying to hold your own life together, you realize life has changed again. Welcome to Have I Got Something to Say? I'm your host, Roberta Zambelli. Let's get into it. Before we start, if you've been listening and these episodes are helping you, make sure you're following the podcast on Apple or Spotify so you don't miss new episodes. And you can also subscribe on Substack. And if this episode resonates with you, send it to someone who might need to hear it too. I always knew that day would eventually come, when we would have to pack up and say goodbye to the family home I grew up in. But honestly, I don't think you're ever emotionally prepared for it when it actually happens. About 2 years ago, we started seriously talking about my mom leaving our family home and downsizing to something smaller, with less responsibility. We spent months going over different options, and I knew I wanted her closer to me. So we ended up choosing a condo within walking distance in a community geared toward people in her age group. At first, it almost felt exciting. A new chapter, a fresh start, a new place. We had about 30 days to start packing things up. And while we were going through room after room, I remember looking around and realizing there would eventually come a day when we would have to come back and go through every single thing left behind. Every closet, every drawer, every room. And emotionally, mentally, physically, it felt overwhelming. Luckily, we had time. We didn't have to move her and immediately sell the family home all at one time. Winter was coming, so we decided to wait until spring to put the house on the market. We got the movers, moved her into the condo, started unpacking boxes, and honestly, that part was actually fun. It was exciting seeing her new place come together, figuring out where things would go, creating her new space, and seeing the excitement in my mom's eyes, knowing this was her new beginning. But once spring came, everything changed. Now came the emotional part. Now came the hard part. Now came the part nobody really talks about. We had to go back to our 48-year-old family home and go room by room, deciding what to donate, what to give away, what to throw out, and what memories we were trying to hold on to. And even though we had a service come in and physically remove a lot of the unwanted items, which, thank goodness, saved us so much time and energy, it still felt emotionally overwhelming. Because every room held a memory. Every closet held a different version of our lives. After a few weeks of cleaning everything out, it was time for renovations and staging. We painted, got all new carpet, updated what we could. Everything was cleaned out. And finally, got it ready for the market. And can I tell you something? The house didn't even look one bit like the home I grew up in. Not one bit. When our realtor sent us the listing photos, our mouths dropped. And when we physically walked through the staged house for that final time, it honestly felt surreal. The freshly painted walls, the carpet, the staging, the furniture placement. Suddenly, the old house I grew up in looked modern and brand new. And that hit me harder than I expected, because it no longer looked like our home. It looked like somebody else's future home. And that's such a strange feeling. Seeing your childhood turned into a listing. Seeing a place that held decades of memories suddenly feel temporary. That's when time really hits you. I remember standing there scanning my old bedroom, trying to picture how it used to look. Posters everywhere, stickers on the doors, rock bands, teen idols, all the little things that once felt so important. I thought about growing up in that cul-de-sac, playing basketball, playing softball, walking through the woods nearby, and remembering the empty dirt lot next door when we first moved in, and meeting one of my first best friends. And then I started thinking about my dad. My dad worked so hard to provide us with a good life and a good home. And somehow we were leaving it behind. And he wasn't coming with us. That part I felt very deeply. In a way, it felt like saying goodbye to him all over again. And when we walked through those empty rooms for the final time, I remember thinking, how did time move this fast? Wasn't it just yesterday that we first moved into that house? I still remember our first night there, eating subs, because boxes were everywhere and nothing was unpacked yet. And now here we were, walking through an empty staged house, saying goodbye to almost 50 years of memories. Honestly, it felt like a death in a way, because it was no longer our home. It was now somebody else's home. All we had left were the memories. And seeing my mom cry as we left the house for the final time was incredibly emotional too, because I knew she wasn't just leaving a house behind. She was leaving behind memories of raising her children, her grandchildren being there, holidays, birthdays, family dinners, laughter, chaos, all of it. That's what people don't always understand. You're not just leaving a property. You're leaving a piece of your life behind. And somewhere in the middle of all of this, you realize something else too. Your parents are aging. The people who once took care of you are now the people you're helping take care of. Nobody prepares you for the emotional weight of watching your parents age while you're still trying to hold your own life together. Because at some point in midlife, you realize you are standing in the middle of life holding everything together for everyone. You're balancing your own life, your job, your responsibilities, maybe your kids, your relationships, your health, and now your parents too. And the role reversal is hard. You become the organizer now, the planner, the one figuring out what steps need to happen next. What gets packed? What gets donated? What gets thrown away? What appointments need to be made? What paperwork needs to get done? You become the responsible one. My mom can make her own appointments, but now I'm the one asking if they were made. I'm the one going into doctor appointments with her, so I can hear exactly what the doctors are saying. I'm the one asking questions now. I'm the one driving her places. And that shift is emotional, because I still remember being the child in the story. I still remember my mom standing at the front window, watching me leave every time I drove away. I remember coming home late at night and seeing her sitting on the couch, waiting up for me, just to make sure I got home safely. Those are all the moments I will never forget. And emotionally, all of this takes a toll. We spent entire weekends at that house, starting Friday afternoons and working until 9 or 10 at night, and waking up early Saturday and doing it all over again. And Sunday too. Sometimes we had to leave for a little while, just to emotionally regroup. Grab something to eat, clear our heads, then come back and start the second shift for the day. And when you're working full-time while doing all of this, it honestly becomes like having another full-time job, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So my best advice is this: stay organized. Ask for help when you need it. And most importantly, take care of yourself too, because they need you. Make time for your parents. You never know how much time you truly have left with them. And once that time is gone, you don't get it back. Now, instead of living 45 minutes away and having to plan my entire day just to go out and see my mom, I get to see her almost every day. And honestly, that part is wonderful. And maybe that's what I've learned through all of this. Life changes. Roles change. Homes change. People age. But love still shows up in different ways. Sometimes love looks like staying up, waiting for your child to come home safely. And sometimes love looks like becoming the one who now stays close to make sure your parent is okay. And maybe that's really what this season of life is about. Learning how to hold each other through the changes. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you're following the podcast on Apple or Spotify so you don't miss new episodes. And you can also subscribe on Substack. And if you know someone going through this season of life right now, send this episode to them. And remember, you're good.